Today is Wednesday, August 18, 2004. This is a meeting of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners.
Agenda.
And we have one? Okay. I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
As little as it is, but yes, we do have one. Did I do better? Mr. Rock?
You're doing better, Pat.
Okay, thank you.
I'm a little more proud of you. I've been kind of disappointed here, but you're a little more proud of you today.
Do you see where our left one retirees are doing better than the active? Good grief. Why don't you control those bills?
It was in such a mess when I took over there. Isn't that terrible?
It's terrible. I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
And they just...
Well, it's taken it. But it's their right, so that's it. I have that same problem with those bins, Pat.
Then this one must be yours.
It could be.
Kate McCaslin and John Ross Kelly are not running for commissioner up in Spokane County.
Is that right?
So they're going to have two new commissioners. Yeah.
John Roskelley climbed the mountain, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a Democrat, and then Kate McCaslin. And she has never been to a WASAC meeting of any kind.
I was going to say, all I know her is my name. I don't know whether I've seen her.
Well,
I think
her husband used to be a senator, but I don't know if he
her husband used to be.
does anything now. McCaslin? Or is he still a senator up there?
I don't know. I don't think so.
But Jim West, was mayor of Spokane.
But he was senator.
Mm-hmm. And their chief executive officer.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
I mean, boy, that's not any easy job to walk away from. 93.5.
Well, she's really not walking away. She's going to retire at 60% of her retirement.
Did you
Yeah, she's gonna. That's
In Higgins, yeah, I did.
at 53. That's not too
I don't
bad.
know when I'm going to be able to do that today because we got a pretty full schedule. When am I supposed to be out to the Smorgies to get the bus today? What time did
I don't want to say it, but you're going to have trouble making both of them, maybe.
Well, the thing about it is, if Patty Murray's going to be at both,
125.
She's going to be at one.
She's going to be at both.
She's going to be at both. Well, she'll have
125.
different kind of transportation.
well, if I don't make the one out at
Port.
I want to go to the highway.
DOT deal.
And Sue was mainly concerned about going to Sacagawea one, so
Yeah.
she's better.
Now, on this housing authority thing, what is this for?
We need to look at it.
That was some more information that
That's
came
what-
over from Bobby.
Yeah,
that-
Bobby Luttrell sent that
Put it in
to.
my pile back.
Do you know what the median average income in Franklin County is? What would you guess? Median family income in Franklin County?
10,000?
58.8.
Yeah, it's terrible.
God, I can't believe that. 58.8.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt for just a moment?
Uh-huh.
Ann Higgins with the state auditor's office is out in the office, and she would like to know if you would have time to meet with her.
Well, I don't know. That's what I was just asking Pat, if there's something.
You've got a new agenda down here that goes in your book. This right here.
She just wanted to let you know what was going on with the audit, and that they had started it, but they stopped it, and wanted to let you know what was going on and why.
They stopped at 5.
I don't know why. That's
Do
why she
you want
wants
her to meet with the board?
No. That way,
It's
there's
a
a
record.
quorum, and
Yeah.
so, no, they won't need it. Okay, so then,
She
our
said she would-
9:45 to 10 is still the same. Pardon?
I was just going to say, she might be working through lunch, because because she has a meeting at 1:30. She has to go
She's going to be here today, all day.
all day, all morning.
So, Frank, you'd be welcome to go and talk to her too.
Yeah, no, this is fine. We can, but she'll be here, so we'll be able to talk to her at a later time.
So I don't know, we got a 10:45. What time am I supposed to be out at the,
1:25 you have to be for the
DOT.
okay, tell her that I can probably be there at 10:45 if all goes well.
Okay.
I will let her know.
Thank you. I need a motion for vouchers, please.
I move for the approval of the vouchers as listed.
I'll second. You know, I might not go to that parade. I think I'll go to Ann Clark's funeral. She's my neighbor, and I've known her forever.
I will call the Mustang Club and let them know that we have a few.
Regarding this parade.
Well, I don't like it anymore anyway, because I can't throw candy.
That's the part I like, that I
That you don't.
don't have to.
So we had a catastrophe at the office, huh? See, you should be in this low rent district over here where we never get any break-ins. You know, there's more car prowling and home burglaries over there than here. But we get the bad publicity.
No, I don't think so anymore. I think Ken was just getting it. That's a bad area, I guess.
Where your office is?
You know, that shouldn't be either, but
Shouldn't be.
No.
I mean, shouldn't be. It's right downtown. You know.
we had those kids one night, they were grouped outside. and they
Yeah,
were-
remember that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't see him.
Yeah.
yeah.
Frankie come early that night, and there was a bunch of kids out there.
Running
Yeah,
in,
we've had
helping.
this one guy keep coming in, and he and we call the cops, and he says, you can't even go up and request his name, an ID. I said, that's crazy. Why can't you do that?
Oh, I can't.
But you can take a picture of him, so we're going to take a picture of him. And I don't know if this is related to it or not, but it wasn't a break-in. They either stayed in the restrooms, you know,
Oh.
or the janitor, or they snuck in with the janitors.
I had a kid come by my place last night with a motorcycle with no muffler on it, and he was using my road as a practice spot. So I went out and visited with him a little bit.
Yeah.
And he really was, he wasn't a bad kid. Surprised. I thought I'd get a lot of lip, but I didn't.
Uh-huh.
And he dispensed with what he was
Huh?
doing.
Sickness problems, what?
Yeah. You don't like motorcycle noise?
Oh, God, with no muffler on that thing.
Oh,
Yeah, but it sounds so
yeah,
cool.
without mufflers.
When I have a motorcycle mall here in the crowd.
I know with the money crunch and everything, I'm not sure if the board wants to purchase any additional revised Code of Washington books or not, but they're asking if you want a revised one for $227.64.
Revised cut of what?
Oh, sorry.
RCW.
Oh, I think we need to do that personally.
Yeah.
We are within our budget for
Yeah.
office supplies, so,
I mean, these kind of things you kind of need to keep up on. You know?
okay. I'll get them ordered out of office supplies then, and that's all I have.
Which group are you a member of, Pat? There's no reflection on your group. I don't want to have them call on me.
Goldwing, Chapter L.
Those, I like that group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Mellow?
very mellow, you know.
Yeah.
We don't do the leather as much as we do the.
As much as you used to.
No, that's the Harleys.
My son-in-law has a Harley. God. Pass
A lot of people do. Love 'em.
Would you care if you call
anything going on up? It sounds like it must be pretty quiet other than the robbery.
Yeah, well, the exciting thing is that the track thing is kind of taken off, and we're really pushing. The state's really interested because no one's ever done this before.
This is good.
Yeah, it's
Well,
it'll
you
be
know,
a
with-
really good, practice because if we ever got a flu pandemic or something, we'd have to do something like this.
And that's
And it'll be so much better if we've gone through it because our staff have never done anything like this.
I asked
And so it's exciting.
if the Homeland Security could be part of it,
Yeah.
for financing, and said no, but I can't. To me, if you have the small spot, our last
That's right.
tabletop was smallpox
Well-
breakout, and
You look at just spreading that germ out among the populace.
That's right.
That would be a Homeland Security issue.
Sure it would be. Sure it is.
so.
But this
maybe
is more
the flu-
realistic than their games because this is actually giving the,
Give them
we
shots,
sit
yeah.
and do these tabletops all the time, but we don't actually go out and do
But at
the
least
things that you need to do.
At least we can show that we've got
Yeah.
a facility that could handle it.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah. Yeah,
a central,
it's exciting. So we're talking about
centralized location. Actually,
even using golf carts and stuff to help bring people in and stuff,
Well,
which
that's
you'd
what
really have to do, and make sure. So it's exciting. We're working on it, and
good.
we're having meetings once a week, and so trying to keep it as realistic as possible, as if if it was an actual thing. So I hope the people respond.
Yeah.
And,
Now, when's it going to be in October?
The week of October 11th,
Yeah.
and we've got. We're going to send a letter to the Tri-City Herald to see if they would be a sponsor. In other words, trying to get the word out and help defray some of the advertising costs and stuff like that. So we'll see what they say. Doesn't hurt to ask.
That's about as community-based activity.
That's what I figure. If they don't do it, I'll be very disappointed. in
Well,
it.
I'd be kind of surprised
Yeah, I
if
would
everyone
be too.
participated.
Yeah, I think they'd want to.
Yeah.
Something like that. So we're going to try to get some sponsors. The Kiwanians are on board, and
Are they going to volunteer too, or?
yeah, we got. I think it's the whole Tri-City Kiwanians. I don't think it's just the one. Speaking of that, are you in the
Pasco?
Pasco?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, in fact, you're going to have influenza talk Thursday.
Yes.
Or is it Thursday?
Tom.
No, not Tom. Dickens. Don.
Oh, I thought it was Tom Cooper that was volunteering as nurses and
Oh, maybe.
for the club to have shots.
Oh, no. You're going to have a lecture on it, and then I think
Oh,
Harvey's
okay.
going to come over and
Okay.
probably kind of push this.
Okay.
Harvey speaks to Kiwanis, and
What?
Harvey Crowder comes and talks to Kiwanis, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think this Thursday
Okay.
they'll give the public health view. I think Don Dickens, he read a book on influenza pandemic or something. He's all hyped up. So he was,
God, he gets hyped up. He's a character. What kind of a doctor is he?
he's physical rehab.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's one of our own. I think we only have two in the whole Tri-Cities. He's over at Lords, and I think there's one over.
I've never had the nerve to ask him, what kind of doctor are you?
Yeah.
He's always getting up and putting in money for his kids' grades.
Yeah, I think.
He's got some very bright children, I'm sure.
I think they
But
call
he's
them
different.
physiatrists, I think is what the official name for them are. But it's,
I mean, he's very proud of his children, and he should be, because get a kick out of
pretty
it.
interesting guy.
But
So,
really-
so that's going on, and I think I'll probably try to invite Mary Selecki to come down that week too.
Mm-hmm.
To get some more publicity. I think she'd probably. I know other state
Yeah,
people
that would
are
be
coming
nice to
down.
have her come in.
There's other state people coming down.
Well, it would give some good
Yeah,
publicity
it would.
to the area.
Yeah, I think it would be. So I will ask her. Should
So
ask her.
October is the month that you should start your shots?
Yep. I hope we get the vaccine in by then.
You'll get,
Oh, Lordy, wouldn't that
Papers.
be a
Oh, yeah, we'll
buzz?
get it.
with Mary Schlecki coming in, you'll get media coverage for
Yeah,
sure.
I know. Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah.
That'll help. So we'll do that. So, fair's coming up. We're not having a booth. We haven't had a booth for a couple of years because it was just expensive, and we didn't think we felt. And we've got the hand washing trailer. It'll be out there and by the kids' petting area again. And
Well, that's
good
a
news.
presence.
Yeah, the fair, they're adding more and more washing stations, which I think they've, especially with that outbreak they had in Oregon last year, I think the fairs are on their own. We're not having to beg them anymore.
I was watching-
to put up hand washing booths. They think, yeah, we're going to get sued if we don't.
I
So
hope they put them up by each of the food dispensing units out there.
yeah.
I watched Larry King last night, and his two little boys was on, and it was Jack Hanna, the zoo guy, and he had all these reptiles, and the kids were petting them, and he said, now you have to wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Well, good.
Yeah, he said,
By
because
golly.
they carry salmonella, and I
They
thought,
sure do.
wow.
That's good.
Even the nicest, cleanest, cutest little animal, they need
Oh,
that.
that's right. Handling, you bet.
Oh, boy.
You bet. You can.
So, I mean, I
we don't
thought
need
that
an
was,
outbreak. They had the outbreak of the animals last year at the fair.
yeah.
And that was, luckily it wasn't transmitted to humans, but if it was, it would cause. And so I'm sure they're kind of waking up to that fact. So we'll be out there inspecting. There'll be a lot of food booths, that's for sure. So we'll keep an eye on them.
I hope that in the food booths that some of these people start wearing gloves up there. Some of that food smells so good, and you go by and see some of the things the guys are doing.
Yeah.
And the guys and gals, and God, they're selling that stuff.
I can't imagine him even eating out there.
Just come on out Thursday morning, Frank. I'll be cooking.
There you go. Okay, Thursday morning, huh?
You're going to be cooking where, Brian?
I volunteered to help Dan cook somewhere out there.
Out there. Well, he works for the Grange. It'll be the Grange.
It'll be the Grange. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, the Grange have those are the good spots down there where they are.
Come on down. We'll feed you some breakfast.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Be a good time. I hope the weather cools off by then.
Well,
Yeah.
it looks like it's going to drop down into the
80s, I think.
Oh, God, that'd
High
be
80s.
wonderful.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. Because I tell you,
Just be
90s, I
perfect.
don't even care to go if it gets that.
actually 90 feels good now compared to that 102
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
103.
Yeah.
That's awful lot.
Yeah.
It was 107 down at Umatilla Fair last Friday. My wife and I were there. It was
Oh.
107 degrees down
Yeah, that's unbearable, isn't it?
That's awful hot,
Yeah, it
yeah.
is awful hot. You don't enjoy yourself.
Well, the animals, I'd be worried about the animals keeling over.
there. And so, you know,
Are they going to use our misters again?
I haven't heard.
those are tremendous help, I want to tell you.
Oh, misters are really,
Those
yeah.
misters.
Especially here where you don't have high humidity. They really work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those misters
Yeah,
are
I've
just,
heard.
yeah. So, anyway, the other thing, we got meningitis,
Where?
a couple cases in town, and we're going to rule out West Nile because that's the other subject I want to talk to you about. It's up. It's crawling up. It's the
In
most
Oregon.
northern county in California with human cases, and now Oregon has a positive bird. So it's moving up. And talking with Barbara Clark was at our last meeting, and she says the migratory path now is just starting up from California up here. So I think it's it'll be here before too long. So
So
we're
would it be-
keeping. We got everything in place. We've been ready for over a year.
The
So
people that were opposed to our mosquito district are going to be awful disappointed if they don't have a West Nile.
I know it. I think they'll have it.
But
They're going to have it. Yeah.
have you heard a lot of grumblings about it?
Not lately, no.
I don't think so. I'd say it's a godsend to be able to have.
I'm
that.
so tickled we got it in place. Oh.
Yeah, if you would enough, you just think, and then it hits.
Oh, wow.
Then you'd have really been on that.
Yeah, you can't
a lot more
wait
than
for that to
you were
happen.
for this. I mean, that's. 'Cause you'd
Sometimes
you'd
you have
the
to
masses.
make decisions like that.
Yeah.
Chuck.
Not everybody is in favor of it.
And everyone, but I think more are than weren't.
Had we not done that,
Oh,
you just couldn't wait.
I know it.
You just couldn't wait.
I know it. Especially when you have one right next to you, and people can point to that. It'd be different if Benton didn't have one either. If the whole area didn't have one, then it's kind of easier to. Well, we might not need it, but.
Well, Walla County, right across the river there,
Yeah.
in that area there, they got the mosquito
Yeah.
district, and they've had one for years.
Yeah.
Not in the entire county.
No,
They've
just
got
Burbank.
theirs- Yeah.
No, in fact, they only have a couple. There's
Over Tusha, they got one now too.
yeah,
right?
the high school students did that as a
as a project.
As a project.
Yeah.
That's great.
You
They
bet
did
it
that.
is.
That's really good. Yeah, to see that. So Tushy has it. Yeah, because I guess the kids were complaining of all the mosquitoes.
I wonder how they got the assessment district line out. That'd be a little tough on some of that.
I don't know how they did that.
You know, but the lines don't run straight, you know.
I know it.
Well, probably by precinct or something.
Well, some maybe.
I don't know how they did that, but it was interesting. I think they
Because
I think they had a grant to maybe get started. I don't know how they got
I think they
started.
did on a grant.
I think they had
got
a
to
grant to
get
kind
it
of get it.
started.
Yeah, and I don't know how they've been
Kept it going.
kept it going. Or,
But it's nice that they have it, and those
Yes.
kids saw the need.
yeah, it's really good. So anyway, we have two cases. We have a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I know Dr. Ahart. The physicians are very, when they're seeing it, they're calling us because they know that, and it's reportable now. We just made it reportable. All
Meningitis.
all meningitis. So
How are they doing?
they're doing okay. I guess the 14-year-old's turned pretty sick, so that's why she wanted. And we had to argue with the state lab. I think they will do it, but it took some coercing to get them to take the sample. So, but it won't be immediate. So if they want immediate, they need to send it off. At least the screening off through a private lab, and we told them to probably do that to make sure we know what we're dealing with. So, but I think the medical community's ready. I think everyone's ready. I think we're doing everything we can, and talking with both mosquito districts, it sounds like they're on top of it as much as you can. I mean, there's a lot of area to cover. Like the guy from Franklin County, that's a big county over here.
A lot of area to cover.
Yeah.
Just one thing in the health district, I wish they'd make it more of a push on these glove things. That the restaurants, a lot of them are good.
Yeah.
A lot of your
Yeah.
fast food are pretty good.
Yeah.
But some of your other restaurants,
Yeah. Well, they don't have to use them for everything, but they should be using. I'll pass that on. Push the gloves.
oh boy.
I know it. Yeah. And and there's restaurants that fight us that they don't want that.
Well, unless
And you can't go with a no glove policy, but boy, you've got to have hand washing like you wouldn't believe, and all that. But I like to see the gloves.
Well,
I know the
But
gloves
if
can be
they use-
misused too,
yeah,
but
they
still,
can,
it's
they
still a
got to
lot
wash
better.
the gloves too.
Well, depending on what they
sometimes.
use gloves for, and
I know.
in the restroom, some of them have no warm water. They're strictly cold water. Yeah, well,
I know, we fight that all the time. But I tell you, the restaurant people just keep after us. And they try to loosen the rules at the state level. They're a big association, big lobbyist, and they keep pushing.
I tell you, restaurant sanitation just cannot be good enough, really.
It can't be, no. Because, there's so much disease that's underreported, and we know it.
What you'll see, and this really gets me, is you see these young gals, or not so young, with fingernails
I know,
this
I know.
long.
I
I won't
know.
go into detail.
I know. We call them on it, and but you can't be we can't, we don't have a mafia police force.
But when they have those long fingernails, shouldn't there be some kind of regulation? I'm not kidding.
Yes, we tell them.
Those long fingernails are doing things that I don't want making my sandwich.
That's right.
Boy.
That's right. There's a lot of little germs
it's-
gather under there.
Good back scratchers.
Yeah. We do. So anyway. So is there anything else?
No? Are we going to have a meeting next month? This month, I mean?
This month? No, it's
Fair
February.
because of the fair.
Because of the
We
fair,
usually don't
okay.
because
Do I need to come
We
over
have
and sign anything, or?
no, I don't think so. I'm going to try to get a building committee
Okay.
before the next meeting.
Okay.
It might be coming up the next week or two. So press on with that. But other than that,
Just register my complaints, Larry.
I will register you.
Oh, okay.
We'll do that.
I think Bruce is aware of that. You tell him
Well,
every time he
I'll tell
comes in
him.
here.
I will pass it on to Gene. Gene's the head of
Oh.
that. So I will keep pushing them. So good.
All right.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
coming in.
Okay, you
Thanks.
bet.
Is not with you?
He's
I-
here. I don't know where he went.
Running, probably.
How was your trip to Alaska? It was good.
See, that's right. You were the little.
Franklin County Sheriff, what's that about?
Cell tower.
It's his cell tower?
Well, it's their application. They're the ones that officially made application.
I guess I don't understand. What's it gonna cost us?
$100,000 that we borrowed from dispatch to do BIPIN 2 years ago.
You're trying to be an sit over here as an agitator, Fred.
I wasn't trying to agitate. I know
No.
it's agitating, but
It is agitating.
Kind of, before we have, can you bring us up to speed on this? We kind of refresh our memory on this a little bit.
that BIPIN,
Part-
to wait till 9:30, don't
Yeah.
He can bring us up to speed, though.
well, years ago, actually, if we go all the way back to when IS was running
But,
Suffolk,
whoa, just a minute, because emergency management is gonna put some cell towers up or something up with Homeland Security money. So why do we have to have two?
I think that's what this is.
I think that's this.
This is Homeland Security.
It's already been paid for, the bond paid for, the tower's already been purchased, my understanding, through
But-
Homeland Security money.
We should have
So then why would we have to pay the $100,000 out of BIPIN, or for, to BIPIN?
well, basically, how far back you want to go? Let's go all the way back when Tucker was running the.
Before
Yeah.
Homeland Security.
This was way back in like 94, 95. If you remember, there was so much money that was put into the computer system, and we had in our grant from them that they were going to basically supply the cell towers, but the county had put $250,000 into the computer system, and they were only going to fund the $100,000 or whatever it was.
Who was going to?
The
I
Department
thought
of the
Benton
Army.
County.
The Department of the Army?
Yes. And I had gone over to the meeting and said, well, instead of you providing funds for the cell tower, we'll do the cell tower later if you purchase the computer for us, which they did because they had $100,000 or something for cell towers for Franklin County. Well, 2 years ago, the BIPIN system was being upgraded, and so the county borrowed $100,000 from the dispatch to buy the cell tower, to purchase the BIPIN. We were going to pay that back this year.
No, we borrowed $100,000 with not the. I thought we were doing that on the software thing.
It was. The money that we borrowed from the 911 was earmarked for the cell towers, and we were to pay that $100,000 back this year, and we bumped the payment on it a couple of times for obvious reasons. So every time Pat talks to me about the $100,000, I just smile and say, hold your breath. We'll get it to you.
Okay, we borrowed the $100,000 from that fund to pay to buy into the
To the BIPIN.
BIPIN software program that Benton County had indicated that they were going to pay, and then they backed out of it.
Yeah,
Proposal.
that was part
That-
of that whole.
that was part of that, yeah.
Too, yeah.
So now we still.
Now, I don't know that you need to come up with $100,000 today for this.
Well,
It's
thank
just
you.
that they keep bringing up the $100,000 that needs to be paid back to the 911.
Well, we can pay it back when we get good and darn ready.
Well, that's pretty much what I've been passing along. County can't put it to.
Okay,
Sorry,
yeah.
yeah,
Thank you for bringing us up to speed. When you go back, you're familiar with that. I'm glad to refresh my memory. When you come back, I remember now what we did.
Pat spoke at Pat Hogan spoke at our planning commission meeting and represented this application, but he's having surgery. He's out right now.
Pat's having surgery, huh?
Okay, we'll open the public meeting for a conditional use permit 2004-10. Commissioner Brock and Corcoran are present, along with Mary Withers, clerk of the board, Greg Wing, planner, Jared McPherson, planner, and Fred Bowen, administrator. And there is no one in the audience to represent the sheriff's office. Mrs. Miller is ill today, so she's absent.
This is CUP 2014. The applicants requested a CUP to construct a wireless communication facility, a cell tower within our agricultural zoning district. The application consists of a 300-foot-high lattice tower with support buildings within a leased area. The tower will be constructed to accommodate law enforcement, fire, and emergency management services. While this is the primary use of the tower will also be available to provide other service providers in the future. It is estimated the tower will be capable of accommodating up to a minimum of 6 other co-location providers at the proposed height. It's located within the Colotis urban growth area boundary, south of SR 260, west of SR 263, and north of the PK Highway. Specifically, the site's approximately 700 feet north of the Pasco-Clovis Highway near an existing cell tower. The Planning Commission reviewed this on August 3rd and recommended approval with the 6 findings and 9 conditions as shown in your action summary.
This is a copy of our 2002 aerials with the parcel boundaries and the city limit overlay. This is obviously the city of Clovis, their corporate limits. This is the Pasco-Clovis Highway that comes around here, comes through town, and then takes off towards Washtuck and onto I think this is 263 or 260? 263. I think it's 263 once it comes off.
No, that's 260. 263 comes up from the south.
I'm sorry, 260.
260.
From Connell through Clovis on to Washtuck.
Right.
It's 260.
That's 260.
This is the railroad right-of-way that is now on the Columbia Plateau Trail, just to get you oriented there. This is an existing 60-foot cell tower at this location on property owned by the Harder Farms. It's accessed via this access road here. There was discussion of co-location on this 60-foot tower, but it's way too small. The terrain's too rough, too rugged to really be useful. So that's why the application for the new tower and at this location proposing 300 foot to utilize this same access road.
Okay, I'll dispense with any comments from the public because there is no public. So close the public hearing and ask Mr. Brock, would you have any questions?
Because of the closeness, the proximity, is there any chance that what is on the shorter tower could be moved, or is there any possibility there?
Yeah, there's approximately 6 co-location spots available on this tower. So at some point when this tower is no longer feasible for the radio frequency or whatnot, they have the opportunity to come over here and co-locate, as well as new service providers. I know Nextel.
They're not planned doing it.
Not at this time.
Okay.
But I know there's been discussion with Nextel to co-locate a new antenna or something. There's been discussion. I don't know if anything's ever been reached because they have a big dead area in Clovis where most people do have dead space.
And this tower is 300 foot, and that's only 60 foot. Boy, that's quite a difference.
And that's a large hill too. That's going to get.
Oh boy.
That's going to cover a lot. And then the Pat testified at the public hearing that the line of sight for, not human eye line of sight,
But from the top of that tower.
to contact with the top of Rattlesnake. So,
Boy, that'll really give coverage, won't it?
That really help.
Will it, in the deep, in the valleys and stuff, will it still?
it'll, obviously in valleys and whatnot, it's hard to get coverage. It'll help, I don't think it.
Well, that's an interesting question, because if it can put a straight beam out that far, and say you're down in a hole in one of these valleys, would that not go up and contact the beam, or does it have to be in direct contact?
No, it'll, it's got they call it the cone of
Coverage?
something. Obviously the direct line of sight is going to have your best coverage. It's going to trickle down and pick up a little bit. You obviously want, my guess is that over time those line of sights that are great distances between towers and you have little valleys, you put little poles or other cell towers to help pick up that.
But your phone services, or your phone systems aren't designed to go up and make contact with that line of sight beam that goes out.
No, I think it picks up each time that we get an application, they usually, this one is a little different because it's from our sheriff's department, but like we get an application from Verizon or Nextel, they have a radio frequency map that shows the coverage, and they color code it yellow, green, and blue. I think, or red, green, and blue, and red's optimal coverage, and then as you get further out in the peaks and valleys, green's a little bit less coverage, and blue's a little bit less from there. And it really is kind of a big cone, and it just depends. But it's not a straight line of sight.
Yeah.
Now, did they have to pay a fee, or was that waived because they're county?
I think that I don't remember. I think that they had to pay it out of 911 funds, I believe. Or we billed them.
I think we billed them. I don't think it's in here.
Pat did mention that the city of Colotis, like their school bus, I think there's a hospital district up there, or not hospital, but ambulance district or something, are interested in getting some of the repeaters or the radios or whatnot and accessing this tower for all sorts of things.
We don't have the funds, so I'll check with Rebecca.
I think we did bill them.
But Homeland Security is actually paying for this now.
That's my understanding from Pat. Is that, and Fred, you've got more history on it than I.
Well, Neve and I are both on that board, and I believe they were talking about putting one up there. And so I think that perhaps is what we're talking about here.
Probably.
So this has been in works for quite some time now.
Yeah.
I wish we had Pat here.
Well, there's somebody
More, yeah.
from the sheriff's office who knows. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to grant approval to a conditional use permit application 2004-10, subject to 6 findings of fact and 9 conditions.
Marvelous.
You think I did a good job on that?
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. $383? Yes.
Come down off the hillside and go in. My brother lives near this creek.
Yeah. How close? You having trouble with it?
No, I'm not. I anticipate. I was out talking with the road department yesterday in regards to the sheriff vehicles and my vehicle. And I did go and talk to the sheriff, to let him know that we were looking at a kitchen. I asked him about transferring one of the deputies over to the Homeland Security, which we would need to on share and see if that grant is still available for us to do that. I wanted him to know what we were doing without him getting the impression that we were trying to do things
Behind his back.
Yeah.
Well, if you'd participate and come in and talk.
Well, I took it on myself to go over and sit down and talk with him. We talked about the budgets. We talked about, the monitor, the
Home.
home monitoring.
Home monitoring, yeah.
And I talked with Terry a little bit about that today. Apparently the judge and Terry's going to come in today. We have that budget hearing at 11, so I imagine we're going to have elected officials come back in, which I think is good. And trying to get everybody to start working together on it. I need to get with the city. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that car. There's one of the vehicles that is being traded off, going to auction that has 99,000 miles on it. The transmission in the one that I have has been showing signs that it's going to give out. I talked to Daryl about it yesterday.
100 miles over there.
It was not that much, 104. But the other car's transmission's in pretty good shape. Now, to transfer that car over, I talked with the road department yesterday, there's not going to be any cost to go from the 99 to the 2000 because the 99 is probably going to get the same thing at the auction that the 2000 would, but I'd end up with a more reliable car.
Yeah.
It may cost $500 to do the change over for it, but if that transmission goes out, it's going to be $3,000 to fix it. So
Now, yours is,
99.
no, what breed are you driving now?
What? Oh, it's a Ford.
It is a Ford.
Yes, and I'm very happy to have that Ford too, I might add.
What is the one they're going to get?
It's another Ford.
Another Ford. Yeah, that's unusual for a Ford to have a tram to go on.
Well, it's because of the rough use of those. but with my thought was is that, as the 2000, 2001, as the year goes on, just keep swapping that car out so you can get the same, so you're not reinvesting in a new car, you're just basically getting the next year's.
Yeah, what's the matter with that? Yeah.
Well, I'm, in my simple head, I'm thinking that it would keep from having to go back and purchase another car.
And you always have a good car.
Yeah, and it would. And actually, I'm having them fix the doors on. If you say that, yeah, we want to go ahead and go in that direction, I want them to fix the doors because sometimes you guys ride in the back, people in the back, you can't get in and out of that car because it's set up. It's kind of a safety issue. If somebody's riding in the back seat and something happened, you can't open the doors, you can't roll down the windows or anything like that. So, but anyway, if you don't have a problem with that, then I'll have them go ahead and switch those cars out. But that leads me to another thing. I asked Daryl yesterday, I said, well, why is it that, like we're getting 4 to 5 cars a year? I said, if a car has 99,000 miles on it, isn't that good for one more year? And can't we keep that one for one more year to where, set a limit on your mileage rather than just transfer new cars out every year? And he agreed that mileage would be fine because, a car would, he said 140, I talked to Sheriff Latham about that yesterday, and he says that's way too many miles on a car.
Depends on whether you're planning on replacing transmissions and all the stuff that goes wrong with you.
Well,
the reason you get rid of them is so you don't have to do all that stuff.
Well, and Daryl talked about the maintenance of them going up also. But you could look at the individual car and make an analysis as to whether or not this car might be good for one more year. Maybe that car needs to go.
We do that anyway.
Well, Tim, the situation that we're having is finance problems. And if we can get a car to last one more year and save ourselves $20,000, now we may have to pick up 2 more cars the next year. But that's kind of a gamble.
Next year's rental rate is based on last year's experience factor.
I don't know what you're saying.
So what you're going to pay this next year is based upon what happened this last year. That's the way it works.
I still don't understand what you mean. Are you talking about repairs?
Repairs, maintenance, and replacement costs.
But that wouldn't
last
change
year, and
it.
that determines what we project what we need the next year based upon what happened last year.
Yeah.
Or you cover your costs from last year.
And that would go up, of course.
Or it goes down from last year. I mean, if you make a change this year, you're not going to see a change in price next year.
But if
the following year, if you
we've already purchased the new cars for this year, and I've already got the budget numbers for next year.
And we've already saved on those Salt Lake City ones, so you should see some change there.
But if you go to 5 years, naturally the cost of maintenance, that's which cost you're talking about, that's going to go up. But it's not necessarily going to go up enough to defeat what we're trying to do by stretching them out.
It's a philosophical question. It's the same one we struggle with on our equipment too. You can keep them longer and probably end up paying the same and possibly more depending on how many additional repairs you have to do to make them last that much longer. Or you can get rid of them before you have to make those repairs and you end up paying about the same. So if you can pay the same, why don't you drive newer vehicles? That's the philosophical question when you're always judging.
And that goes with your personal car and anything else. But
right.
If a person
took
just any care, if there was any sense of ownership in these cars, take any care of them, you should be able to run up 125,000, 130,000 miles without that much maintenance.
Well, the fact that you have one person assigned to the vehicle, there should be a little more of that versus where they're having from person to person. I can't tell you whether.
But now they're assigned one person to a vehicle here.
Yeah,
it's been that way for years. Forever.
Now, if
it does allow us if we're seeing abuses, and I know Daryl's already dealt with them on that on a number of things, and he's seen improvement. There were people that were abusing vehicles.
Oh.
And he got to the sheriff, and the sheriff dealt with it, and there has been some changes there on tires and brakes and everything else.
Yeah.
We're not seeing the problems we once saw.
If we would rotate the cars from individuals, we could cut out on the number of cars, and do the same.
That's where your savings is at. Those people that do high mileage need to pass those vehicles on to the people that don't. You need to trade cars every now and then, but there's costs associated with that too. Because there's changing everything from a traffic car to a detective. Because you got the camera and
he said
everything
it costs
else.
about $3,000 to transfer the stuff over. So, you know, in $3,000, a lot of money. You spend, what, 21 for a car. You transfer it over, and now you're increasing your cost.
You can chase it. I'm just saying, I don't think you're going to see the savings you think you're going to.
But what about
Personally,
having
that's just my personal.
more than one person use the same vehicle?
You know, unfortunately, Frank, that the unions have got you on that one, because that is, you can have, if you have more than one person using the same vehicle, right now, each person has a vehicle, they use it as, to go back and forth to work. And that's a loss of revenue, that's a loss of salary.
Negotiated item.
It has to be negotiated out to union negotiations. You
So
can't
that's a
just-
union issue now?
It's a union issue.
How long has that been a union issue?
Well, as
It's
far
been
as
going
I
on too
know,
long.
of about 6 months ago when I was at the union, or was at the conference, and I asked them
I
specifically.
wonder what they'd do if they would bring that up as a union
They
issue.
could bring it
here.
up.
Oh, we
But-
can bring it up on our side.
No, but I meant, I wonder if our people would know that.
You
One
know
would
what,
think
if our
they're-
people didn't, I'll bet you their representatives.
One would think
would.
their rep would know it.
Oh.
Those guys, that's what they do. You know,
But if you're
they're
looking at
those
it-
meetings with us.
At a money issue in the county, what are they going to do?
Well, you know, it just, it still has to be negotiated out. I mean, if it's a money issue, there's
If it's
not
my
enough
issue, and
revenue
then,
for it.
okay, you want to keep the cars, then you lose one officer. Which one do you want to lose?
It's really kind of what it boils down to. Because the county has the right to lay people off.
That's what it is.
Meet their
You've got union
expenses.
buddies out here. Which one do you want to lose? I mean, do you want them all employed, or do you want...
And I think this is where we're going to have to look at some of this stuff,
Yes.
because if they rotate those cars, the guys can come and park their cars and get in them and go from here. Because if a guy's living way out in the country, and this is where he's chosen to live, there's some advantage to going back and forth and patrolling when you're going back and forth. But there probably aren't. How many guys doing that?
Well, some
I
of them
see
don't
most
even
of
live in
them
the
on
county.
395.
Well, you know,
I saw 2 of them on 395
let me
yesterday.
be devil's advocate here. You know, one person puts 120,000 miles on a car in 4 years. It's not what is happening right now. Well,
One person does?
One person. So you rotate out a car, now you're going to have 120 miles put on the car in 2 years. So you're going to have to replace that car 2 years sooner than, I mean, so are you really saving anything by doing that? Because you're
But
going to
we're-
run those miles up on it twice as fast.
But
Yeah.
you're losing.
And the other side, what I've heard from the sheriff is, he wants those cars at those houses so that if he needs them for emergency purposes, they can respond immediately.
No, I
That's the
understand.
flip side of that.
Yeah, I understand the argument.
Versus having to drive in here and then say the emergency is out there, that you just wasted a bunch of time.
You know what Tim said is right. I mean, when it comes right down to it, about the best thing a person you can do is just start laying people off. That's where your only savings is going to really happen. Is you just got to
Or if you-
Well, use that as a lever in the
Right.
car thing. That,
But the ones in town, the ones that live in the town or right around Riverview, I could see them if someone lives at Basin City.
How about if they live in Burbank?
Huh?
How about if they live in Burbank?
Well, that's not right.
It's
We
already
shouldn't
happening.
have a car in Burbank.
It's already happening.
it's happened for years in that same one.
It's just, you know.
Do you
it's-
think that's right?
that a deputy be able to drive his vehicle home if he lives outside of Franklin County?
In Burbank.
We already have guy drivers. Well, we have several people
Well, I
that
drive
around.
the car out to
in Benton County. So they're on 24-hour call. I mean, I guess if you're going to take that stance, you better look at how far-reaching that
You
should
better
be.
be careful when
Yeah.
you take that stance, yeah. But I know that
But
we've
I'm
had
just
that in
thinking
Burbank.
of his excuse that they are out so they can respond to an emergency. Well, how can a person in Burbank respond to?
Well, he gets his phone call, he jumps in the car, and he runs right to the wherever
Scene,
the
wherever it's at.
accident or whatever the emergency.
Well, I would think that they would call people that live nearer to it.
Well, they may. You know, I
I
don't
don't
know the particulars on it. I mean,
But you'll have
Burbank's
guys
a lot
on
closer
call.
than Basin City or
Yeah.
Pelotas or something. You know, so I mean, if you
Or-
think
or
about it,
Benton
it's just
City.
across the river.
Or whatever, yeah. West Michigan.
Somebody live in Benton City in West
I don't know.
Richland? No.
I'm just saying that
If we did have, yeah.
could.
I don't know. You know, I went out there thinking that you know, we could save some money somehow on the cars, but I didn't come out of there with that.
We've
feeling
discussed
other
this
than-
issue so many times.
Yeah, other than maybe keeping a car for another year, but, you know, if it had lower miles on it, because some have 130, some have 99, you know. There are
I think
some-
we've been doing that, or we've been trying to do that. If there's
So
one
that's
that has
been-
low
that's been
mileage,
in practice.
we don't replace that. If
Brian.
we feel that it's in condition to continue, and we can.
Well, 1 year-
It's been in who's driving it.
Right, and from what I understand too, the hardest one is no longer here, because he was burning up brakes, 2 sets
Yep.
of brakes a year or something.
Just ring a bell.
I don't know who it was.
Who was it?
I don't remember.
I don't recall the guy's name. I didn't recognize it. And if you were thinking of the bill, I'm thinking I was.
No, no, it wasn't him. So it could be on my agenda.
Yeah. We're talking about a lease of some sort.
That's the quarterlies. Review draft order.
Oh,
There's the draft letter. Fred's already looked at it, right?
Yeah.
That's just what we want to say.
I think so. And then just put me as a contact unless you want Fred to be contact or something. I didn't know.
You've been dealing with it then.
okay, did you give it to Mary?
Yep.
Okay. Let's put
I move
this,
for-
well, let's put it on Monday's agenda so Sue can
Consent
sign it.
agenda, all right.
So Sue can sign it also.
Okay, you want it on the consent agenda then?
Please.
Oops, I didn't have enough copies here.
Do you have lots for us, Brian? Do you have lots for us?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Do we have something for Brian?
See, just asked me to come by, or come down and see if we can get out there, whatever. But he didn't have anything, so I'm gonna take care of the claim stuff next time.
Okay.
I have something that Steve, I talked to Steve just a few minutes ago, but we have to go into executive session.
Oh, okay. Do you need Brian here for that? Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Brian.
Thanks for coming by.
Good morning.
We have to submit the route prospectuses for 2005-2007 biennium. And we've been talking about that road, or Road 100
Oh, yeah.
extension.
Tim, and you understand this better than I do, but we've been getting our STP money
Yes,
straight, and that's not going to happen anymore.
that's the way I'm reading it.
Yeah. That's talked to Mark Kushner, and it's going to have to go through the local MPO.
Well, all I can say is we don't want to mess with it, and that's what we need to portray as that's all ship off a letter to that effect. That's the pleasure of the board that we want to continue distributing our funds the way we've always been doing it, and that we don't really need their involvement in it other than as a pass-through.
Yeah.
So
There's $3.5 million apparently.
If you want, I'll contact the small cities and get their consensus on that. Unless they want to go through the MPO,
No.
Because if we go
but
through the MPO,
they may siphon some money off.
yeah.
But the thing I understand is we may not have an option on that thing, Tim, now.
Well, since Walla Walla got a piece
Since
of Burbank in the MPO, then Walla Walla is now part of the MPO, and
And
they're
this-
saying that
Yeah.
all the money, even the rural stuff's directed through that. Now, Walla Walla, I think, is going to take the same stance,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I need to call Phil and find
But
out.
according to Mark, that we weren't gonna have the option. No.
Of it going through them, but that doesn't mean they have to mess with it.
Okay. There is a
But,
difference.
But Benton County
We can-
probably
we
will
can
try
continue.
to siphon off, because they're trying to take all of the
Benton
money.
County's trying to go to a system like ours, where they're bought off for cash. Which,
But can
history-wise,
Benton County get some of our money?
when you throw in that MPO, anything can happen. It's sure and true. Now, I don't know. Were you commissioner when Mr. Morton was here and Ice-T became? We were accused of stealing Richmond's money because he felt it should have gone through the MPO in the first place. And the way that it was apportioned out, so much had to be spent in the rural, and so much was contributed to the rural area. Well, that contributed portion was the portion that was up in air and can go anywhere. And in fact, I got accused by the public director of stealing their money. And the bottom line is it never went through the MPO, so I said there's no way I could steal it.
Because who caught?
Mr. Morton told him that it was going to go through the MPO and that money was going to be available to be spent anywhere.
But I know how that come up, and I was a fairly new commissioner, but who was the guy from the Department of Transportation? His name was, I always called him Denny Heck, but it was Denny Ingham. And he came to me and he said, Neva, what's going on with your MPO? You know, and
They took a money run at it.
And I said, I don't know enough about it, Denny.
Ingham was Denny Ingham. He was on. He retired after I.
Yeah, but he was on that multimodal transportation.
He's our
committee
last
with
good
me.
local programs guy.
Yeah, he was, and he wanted to protect Franklin County because there was all this hullabaloo that the MPO wasn't working.
See,
and I said, I'm just.
Any
I don't
place
know
you
enough
didn't,
about it to talk
any
to
place you didn't have
California.
an MPO, everything was distributed straight to the county. The county got with all the eligible participants and decided how it was going to be distributed. We did that as a rural
this is yours, I bet.
county.
Your
my
copy.
copy.
You always have the original, don't you?
Yeah.
Actually, I probably have the original for the minutes
Yeah.
of that one.
Let's raise it.
So anyway, that was the story on that. I always called him Denny Heck, and he'd have to correct me.
All the rest of the counties that are not in Puget Center having a big part of it in big MPO, all the funds were distributed straight to the counties. And they did it for Franklin County because our TPO included Walla Walla County, and they didn't have any MPO elements in them. So they did it for Walla Walla. So they said the only thing fair to do was to do it for Franklin. And Benton County was given that opportunity. They chose to allow the MPO distribute their rural portion.
Now they're upset about it, and they're trying
Exactly.
to change it.
Now they're
And
trying
that's
to
the
set up-
meeting. That's the
Yeah.
meeting I missed yesterday, but
They're trying to set up the same program that we have here.
and they don't want to give anything to transit.
And I support them doing that, because if they do it, then we're sure to continue as we
But
are.
according to Mark, we're not going to get the option because Walla Walla is going to be in the same MPOs.
That doesn't mean we can't push for it to continue as it has been happening. Period. And that's our stance that we should take, and that's the stance that I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
We ship off a letter
Yeah, let's
to
do
them
that.
making that request to continue status quo.
Yeah, so I'll support that.
So then, explain this to me, because these are awful big figures,
Okay.
Tim, and I'm,
The toll project over here, you can see it varies. It
Yes.
depends on which route you end up selecting. Those are the numbers we've gotten from the consultant so far on all the various options that are available.
so we'd
From a low
have
of
to come up with a
3.3.
match of $100,665,000.
If you pick the route that is the $4 million, I
Oh.
don't think you're going to do that based
Okay.
upon where that's at. But
Okay.
I wanted to make you aware
Aware.
that the most funds that we can receive is $2.6 million. Now that's over 2 biennials. Because the
4
most,
years.
4 years.
Wow.
So that's why I say we're either going to have to find alternate funding sources to help us out here, or find a source we can borrow against, so that when the funds come in, we can repay them.
Can we go to the feds for some money, like they went to?
That's what I'm suggesting, and in fact, that's seriously what I'm looking at, is the piece of debt where we're tying it from Road 100 over to where Dan is now. Once we acquire the right-of-way and a lot of this stuff that I don't want to involve the feds in, I mean, we still have to do it in conformance with, but we don't have to have their blessing. Then take some of our urban federal money or whatever and build that piece using the federal money.
Well, that's the most important.
And the rest, go ahead and do the route, so we do the whole thing.
That mile is probably the most important road we have right
It's
now.
still going to take 4 years or 2 bienniums to get the funding.
Before we can ever start on that Road 100?
No. We can start on it, if it's selected, we can start on it next July and start acquiring right away.
Come on in.
Come on in, Randy. Hey, you've seen government at its finest. You're welcome to come in and stay.
We can start doing the PE and acquiring right away and all that stuff, which is going to take some time in itself. That's probably, unless we get everybody that's A-OK and happy with what we're doing, it's going to take a year or 2 years to do that anyway. So that'll get us into the next funding cycle.
Okay.
But we won't be able to start getting any money until July of next year.
Okay.
And then that's when the 4 years start. Or actually, you'll have 2 years and then to the next biennium, and then you'll be into the next biennium. So that's
I
when
want
4
it
years
to
start.
happen now.
Well, I know that, but this is the best I can do for you. And,
How
but
far-
I'm
Can
recommending
okay, can we?
we're limited by how much we can apply for.
Yeah, but can we apply for it and then borrow from the, what's that fund?
But trust fund.
Yeah.
If
And
you
pay
can
it
get,
back with these payments?
if you can get them to fund it, it has to rate high enough. I mean, we can do that. Once we can show the need and all that stuff, but we're going to compete with everybody else. And if it's funded, we can do that. In fact, I know a county that's done that. I don't know if they got their loan.
So if we got the money up front and then paid it back with our wrap, but we'd have to make sure that these funds were approved over a 4-year period.
You need to get this
Starting to work heavy on
selected.
the off-ramp
And
now.
to get this selected, we need to give it, we have 20 points, local significant points we can give it. In fact, if we submit the debt replacement Broadmoor connection project, that's the only project we can submit. Because that's our cap, it's 2.6. All we can submit.
Well, this is the one I personally feel we need to make real emphasis.
And that's my recommendation, is we submit this one, and in that case, I'll put the prospectus together and have her sign it Monday.
Good.
That's the
Okay.
consensus.
Yep, it's
Good.
consensus.
Because that'll help a tremendous amount there. DOT is starting to work on that off-ramp on 68 now. But all that's going to do is just funnel more traffic.
I did get a call from Alberts in regards to that. They're going after federal funds to make some changes on the Road 100 interchange.
Oh, they are.
Going after congressional funds to do that.
You know, I mentioned to Don Whitehouse about going underneath the ramp and making a turn. He said that they didn't have enough room to make that, and he said they'll do it better coming off the way they are now with a stoplight than they would making the turn, because it would have to be a short turn underneath
But I
there.
think they're also going after funds to widen out at least the west side of Broadmoor or 100 on the side that's not developed. Make improvements there. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but the city of Pasco is through a lobbyist.
They're widening 68 out there now, out toward the county line where all those new low-income apartments in it. They're only widening the west side. I was hoping
The
that.
developers are being forced to do that.
What was that, Ryan?
Are they going, I just thought maybe they're going to put sidewalks in there.
Well, the developers are being forced to put curb gutter and
Well,
sidewalks
that's got to
and
be
widen it out.
4 lane before they go sidewalk. So because that.
And that they force the developers to do that.
Oh,
As part of their
Okay.
cost.
That needs to be
That's
done.
why it's only the west side.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Anything else for Tim?
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Okay. Has Dennis found out anything about Orel?
I guess he's doing well.
Is he home?
I don't know about that. Everything went fine.
Morning, Ray.
Hi, Ray.
Is it okay to call it road washing meeting Yeah.
Oh, because the prosecutor didn't have anything.
That helps us.
We're on track.
15 minutes is one.
Okay, as usual, we start with the event update. Last week, during the week, we had Baja registration. 600 people came through to pay their registration dues, etc. We had the Asparagus Association meeting, 40 people. We had
Was that a lunch?
No, that was an afternoon meeting.
Okay.
That was bringing the asparagus growers together that had never gotten one place together at one time and discuss strategies and so on and so forth. Creative Memories was a scrapbooking thing on Friday night. We had Linnea Express dance on Saturday night.
I was curious, is that about what, or better than they expected, or about what they expected?
With
on the 14th,
the dance. That was a little bit better than we expected. It wasn't what they had expected. They had expected better than that.
It's still pretty good this time of year, isn't it?
And then the Navarrete Quinceañera took place on Saturday. Also, that was a literally last second situation. They had booked another facility. They had problems with the sewer hookup in that facility. And they came to us they started talking to us on Wednesday, and on Friday afternoon late they came in and paid cash up front and everything else. So we were able to accommodate a family in distress.
Oh, good.
We were able to get that done. This weekend we have a Mary Kay meeting, which is like that Creative Memories situation. And next week's Pasco School District training, and then wedding dinner and education service meeting. So again, the teachers are starting to come in for training, so we'll be focusing on it. And then we start getting into September. So that's what our event update is. And I've got revenue update as an attachment behind that. As we went through and revised our budget, it was based on these events coming in. And if you look down in the August time frame, there was Linnea Express. You need your glasses.
Well, this is fine print.
That's real fine print. We're trying to get it all on one page. The Linnea Express, we had expected to take in $13,200. In actuality, we took in $21,817 for $8,617 more than we had anticipated.
That's really nice.
Yes, that is. The DOT meeting was the last second. We had $118 we did not budget for. The Washington Asparagus Association, it was another one of those last minute. $298 we did not budget. Creative Memories was around $100, and then the Quinceañera was $1,600 that we didn't budget on. So when you look down at the bottom, in the far right corner, it says $30,229. That is to the good side of our revenue. And then we'll also have this increase in expenses, but nowhere near to that level. So the news is that we are going to, if everything goes well, we should do well. Now, with that said, somewhere in the in September, we had anticipated a Hispanic rodeo on Labor Day weekend. We found out this morning that will not happen, so we're going to try to get it scheduled again in this year. So the revenue budgeted for that was $16,700. So again, we're going to try to work with them and try to get them in at a different day, so we don't lose that revenue stream altogether.
That's a big hit.
Yeah.
Now, Noe had that scheduled.
That's the one that was scheduled. That's right. So you win some, you lose some, and I think we're still winning, and I think we can bring in that event a little bit later.
Did he indicate he thought you could
Well, he said he'd work on it and see what he can do. And the first decision was he won't be able to pull it off. He was saying that the competition is too great. We just had the one this weekend, and there's going to be another one coming in right after him, and he doesn't feel that.
There's heavy rodeo season right around here now.
So I think the message is still we're online to meeting our budget. We're going to win some, or we're going to lose some.
Without
We're
question.
still okay. Next thing on the agenda is the Benton Franklin Department of Health Inoculation Clinic. I just wanted to, that's the Dr. Yucca.
He was here this morning.
Okay, I wanted to just give you an update as far as what they're requesting. They are asking for October 11th through the 15th. They are looking at the expo hall and 2 meeting rooms for all 5 days. And they're asking for 6 skirted tables, 53 unskirted tables, 183 chairs, 645 feet of pipe and drape, 5 electrical connections, and total on all of that is about $15,800. I'll let you know we're going to be doing it and everything else, but that's what he's asking.
So what you're saying is that now is that basically any kind of services that's provided?
Well, this is what we had started on here. I didn't.
The word I got was we're going to make sure it happens, and we're going to make sure it happens well.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I just want to give you the update that this is what they've come back to us and said this is what they would like to have.
But all of those things, actually, I mean, these figures are if a commercial person
If
come
we
in
rent
and
it.
we charge them.
If we rent it.
But we're not taking those chairs and tables away from a paying customer.
No, we're not.
They're sitting there.
Well, what about?
I understand.
See what I'm
Do you
saying?
Do you have to staff up
Yep.
for that?
Yep.
What are we doing on staff on that?
Well, we'd have staff hired in specifically to do that, whether it be ridge crew or whether it would be part-timers. We don't have events immediately ahead of time, so we've got some luxury as far as running it as efficiently as possible. But the point is we're quite prepared to do this. I don't want to minimize it. I just want to communicate with you as to what the request is, and just let you know.
And how many days we're looking at then? 4 days?
October 11 through the 15 are the days that specific. So
And we have nothing scheduled during that period.
At this point, I've got 2 other events that are looking to come into the atrium or a meeting room area that we can accommodate. We can block the area off. So we're not talking about any negative impact to track as far as keeping other people out of there at this point. Nor do I expect anybody to come in and want to use that expo hall during that time.
My only concern is we should be able to recover the expenses as far as the labor. And
But if we already have Coyote Ridge on contract and we pay them whether they're doing that or not.
We can tell them not to show up. In fact, in our budget, as we projected out, we're going to tell them not to show up for 7 weeks during the rest of the year.
was that right?
Yeah, that's part of it. And they can adjust their schedule. They're fine with
Well,
it.
what would be our actual cost that we're putting out for extra labor for this function?
At this point, I can't give you, this morning, I can't give you that information. I will be
Because
able to
we're
give
looking
that
at
to
it.
you.
We're looking at a bi-county.
I can come back, and I will come back with what an actual out-of-pocket would be for this.
Yeah, as far as
I'm
the
glad to do
the
that.
facility itself, if we're not using it, I don't see a problem. But the actual, the labor, I think we need to look at the cost.
Labor and utilities both are
Yeah.
going to be actual costs
The actual
associated
costs
with
we
it.
look at.
And then if there's any other other issues with it.
Okay, how many tables again?
They asked for 6 skirted tables and 53 unskirted tables. 645 feet of pipe and drape. And 183 chairs.
Are we going to pick anything up as far as meals or anything on this?
No. They asked to bring their own food in. And we told them yes. So,
The actual cost.
so I can have some actual costs for you next week. Again, this is this is a pretty substantial event that they're planning here. Helen, his mother, is sick, and she has to stay with her, so we're not going to see Helen much during the week for quite a while. She said she'll be back on weekends working there, so just do an update on that. We're putting the ice in. We're working on the 04 budget, again, staying on top of that, but also developing the 05 budgets and with working with Fred and other new revenue sources, trying to be as creative as we can, working through coming up with some new revenue streams.
Now, is Maureen helping us come up with some new rentals?
Oh yeah. She's working. She's working on years out.
Yeah,
as much as well as in.
But
I think if
years out is the thing that she was hired for, primarily, or ahead, not something that we have. We're coming up with some of those.
We are putting in bids for some of those. Some bids we're getting in, and some we're not.
Now, the Rotary Luncheon is something new, isn't it?
Yes. There are a number of new events in here, and again, as I indicated with those, what we just went through with these zeros that we hadn't anticipated. Most of those are hers that she went out and got, and we're filling in a little bit here and there.
They've got two of them, one on the 15th and one on the 8th.
Yeah, one of the things about those, even though you make a lot of money, they can give you a lot of favorable publicity on that.
Yes, they can, and they get people into the facility, and they can see for themselves of what we have to offer.
There's quite a few weddings.
Lots of weddings. Mm-hmm. That's right.
September's a fairly busy month.
Yeah, it is. Not the huge events that
bring in the buzz. Yeah. What about the hotel? Have they said any more about a grand opening?
Yes, they are working on it, and we will be doing the food for that. It's later in the month of September.
It'll be in September.
Yeah, it will be in September. Don't have an exact date on that, but they are working with Mel, and it is a very extensive food, high-end food, and service is what they're looking at. So that'll be a nice payday for us, and that's not included in this.
Good.
We're still working on it. Well, let's see. Anything else? No, that's it. That's what I have.
Did you, by chance, get a hold of Davis Collins?
I have not had a chance to. I've made one call, and I left a message, and I didn't follow back. This is their busy time, so I'll do it again.
Well, they're here probably next week.
Yeah, I'll catch them ahead of time. They said they were going to come over when they got here.
We sent those letters out. This is on the Grand Oak Court. We sent the letters out. I think there was over 50 letters that went out to all the different animal clubs, the 4-H. And we got a list from WSU, and there's quite a few. But we didn't leave anybody out. We sent letters off to everybody, and then all the service clubs. There were some service clubs we didn't come in, but most of the main ones, like the Rotaries and the Kiwanis.
Are you getting a response from the letters?
You know what? We put the letters together. I signed them, and we sent them over to Paul Whitemarsh because dual signatures, city county was going on. I'm assuming he's probably sent them off by now.
Okay, so they're just in the process of going out now. Yeah. And you asked for a reply for those?
Yeah, we asked if they contacted us back to let us know if they were going to be there. I haven't heard anything. It's set up for the 14th at 3 o'clock out at track. Well, you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
I hope it just isn't you and Paul and Ray at the meeting, you know.
You know what? But I don't think it's going to be. I think there's enough going on that I think we'll get.
I'm real enthusiastic about it personally. I think it can be
just
real good.
An executive session?
I do.
Bad news Bowen is what we have here.
Somebody's got to bring it to you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You're not going to do the executive session first, are you?
No, it's at the end. Unless you want to have it. It only take 2 minutes. Just shut that off and I'll just go on real quick.
No, we'll just leave it. Go through this.
Zona needs to be here for the first one. She needs to sign this. Well, we can go ahead and get you started on it. This is the cell tower lease agreement. Apparently FAA must have had the approval. Let's see. because both the cell tower companies weren't willing to sign the contracts until FAA had approved the tower going in. We received these contracts later on Monday, asking us to sign and then send it to them. Now, we're signing first, where typically we don't, but we're going to sign first and send them back to them.
Okay.
So these have all been approved by,
Yes, they've all been worked through. They've been worked over extensively.
Well, these aren't contracts, these are
That's
resolutions.
the resolution. These are the contracts. Yeah.
Okay.
And there are lots of places for signatures. We need a notary here also.
Mad Bomber is working here. I move the approval of resolution 2004-384 as specified.
I'll second the motion. All in favor? Aye.
Why don't we get Mary notarized, a notary?
I don't think she wants to be.
Nobody asked me. I have been before.
Why don't
Well,
we do it?
all that does is,
It costs money.
yeah, it's like, what,
We'll pay
20
for
or
it.
$40 or something a year?
We'd pay for it in here.
You want me to find out?
Yeah, you know, it
Or
just
would
be,
you rather have Pat because she's here 100% of the time?
Yeah, but we don't do anything that we have to have notarized unless you're here.
Okay.
Who did all these stickies?
Bridget probably.
I never saw a notarized sticky before.
You just sign the contract, Leave it.
Mm-hmm.
I was beginning to wonder if we were ever going to even get a contract from them.
You know, it's been a long time, but it's an awful good deal. Oh my. That's an excellent deal. We can afford to wait.
Well, you know, I understood why they weren't signing the
I
contracts.
can understand it too. It boils down to one thing, money.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Was it?
Well, you know, if they would have signed the contract 4 months ago or whatever, they'd be making monthly payments on something that they can't use.
Can't use it, yeah.
And then it's,
Morning, Ms.
and
Reinhardt.
since,
Is it time? I don't want to rush you.
no, that's fine.
We just got our ballots,
No.
the rest of our ballots.
You can't, you didn't bring any to show, huh?
No.
I've signed mine, so you can sign.
Yeah, we got the Democratic ballots, we didn't get the Republican ballots. And I said, well, that works for me. We'll send the Democratic ballots out. But they came, the Republicans just came.
I'm certainly glad you go out and mind.
Rebecca is. I think I have someone in my office that might be, that used to work at PISA. Oh, that's her, Mary.
Rebecca's gone?
She's sick. Would they have it with them?
A glitch, Fred.
The glitch.
No notary.
I can just
Oh,
unplug it.
yeah.
I bet.
I could understand why we didn't have our own notary in the office.
Oh, that is a very good point. I'm glad you finally mentioned it here. We've all sat here for years and let this happen. We should have had
Could be
something.
the other one too.
Rebecca's a notary. She here today.
No, she's sick.
she's
That's
sick.
the trouble.
That's the glitch.
That's the glitch.
Rebecca's the glitch.
But,
Well,
What's
she
the matter
can
with
go to
Rebecca?
her tomorrow. She can do it tomorrow when she comes.
Yeah.
It's going through a check right now. It'll probably take about 10 seconds is all.
Sue Booth is a notary too, right?
No. She used to be, but she didn't renew.
Okay.
the stickies are there to show you where to sign.
Well, I was looking at the notary page and looking at, was my signature to go on that page or was it, but then I realized it said notary.
Oh, by the way, When you had your prescription glasses for sunglasses and you wanted to use your own frames, where did you go to do that?
God, that was so long ago, Neva.
Oh,
The last time I just had Dr. Michael's office do it, and I used their frames. But
I don't want to use their frames. I want to use mine.
They won't do it?
My doctor won't.
Michael won. He didn't want it that way.
But you didn't have your own frames, did you? Oh, did you?
Yeah, but you had frames from an old pair of glasses probably that you bought from him. Well, I've got Brighton.
Lens crafters won't do it. I mean,
Well, where's Lens
on
Craft?
the mall.
Okay, I'll try
You know,
that.
you know what? Brian, the architect, CJ, whatever.
CKD.
Yeah. He has actual glasses, and I said, because he was scrubbing it one day, he was cleaning them, and I said, Brian, you can't do that with those lenses. And he said, well, why not? And I said, because aren't they plastic? And he said, no, they're glass. I said, where did you go that you let somebody put glass lenses in for you?
I don't have plastic lenses.
Well, my God, they wouldn't put glass in mine. They said it was not safe, yada, yada. And, you know, these plastic lenses are a pain in the butt. And so Brian, wherever he goes, he gets the glass lenses. And I would rather have glass than plastic anyway.
But it depends on the thickness because of how heavy they would be.
I don't care.
Well,
Someday I'm gonna get old and have weak eyes too, so I'm gonna.
I've had glasses since I was 5th grade, and I want to tell you, I'm very happy that medical science has come along, that we don't have to see blurry trees and can see the leaves on trees. And
You know, I'm surprised you should have had contacts.
I've had contacts, and I don't like them. I want to just be able to put my eyes on when I get up right away in the morning. I can't slow down for no contacts.
A lot of people have switched to contacts because they.
David's had them since the 7th grade.
I've never known David, I don't even remember him with glasses ever.
He had glasses, but he wouldn't wear them.
Now I think, Frank, when you're older, they try to guide you into the contact lenses, I think, because I think they preserve your vision longer.
Yes, they do. But, you know, he's one of the people that I see wearing contacts that you can't tell he's wearing them.
Some people, their eyes are too glassy. You can look at their eyes and think that. My
Or
daughter
they
goes with it.
have lots of cheering or
What if I
redness.
Mary?
And they do have problems with
And
it.
then there's
So
Well,
what
I
else
just
is-
wear mine for appearance.
Where is this? Is this all the agenda?
Yeah. Now I need to talk to you about Metro.
What are we doing with the phone thing? Hi, Linda. Is he seeing you there? I want to know, does she have a notary?
I think Dex is supposed to look into
What
fixing
Does she
it.
have her
what's
sealed
Metro
letter?
your task force?
I had a Metro meeting last night that I was put on the board.
Would she bring it back
And
at lunch with her?
Right now, the two sources
okay.
of funding that Metro received their funds for was grant funding and
Hi, Yesenia.
forfeiture funding.
Do you still are a notary?
Well, recently
Could you bring your
they
seal
have
back with you
changed
from lunch?
the
That would be great. I'll send you to the
rules for
commissioner's
forfeiture,
office and you can notarize some of these
where it
contracts.
used to be if you were caught with
Forget it,
drugs
you're not
in
getting
your
nothing,
car,
girl.
they could take your
All
car
right.
from you.
Bye-bye.
Now they have to prove that you bought your car from funds that you had received from the selling of the drugs. And if they can't prove that and they take you to court on that, if Metro loses the case, then Metro has to pay for your attorney fees. So they've made it almost impossible, not totally impossible, but very hard to receive forfeitures any longer for the drug activities that are going on out there. So that fund is going into, it's in the black right now, but it will be negative.
Well, Fred, didn't it used to be that if they caught you with drugs in your car, they could just take your car, period?
That's what he just said.
Yeah, period.
But now you
That was-
have to prove that you bought the car with the drug money.
Right.
But, yeah, there was pretty tough on some of those.
Yeah, well, not anymore. And then not only that, that is the biggest reason why the forfeiture fund is going down, and that was a significant part of the budget.
Well, I don't know as we can be part of drug task force then.
Well, that's kind of where we're now. You know, the problem now. What was recommended last night? You know, you have the 3 cities and the 2 counties is there.
Is that all? We don't have Benton City and
no,
Prosser and Conneaut?
No. It's just the Kennewick, Pasco, Richland. West Richland pulled out. Yeah, they're pulled out. Or appears to have pulled out. They were sending them a letter asking them to reconsider, but they pulled out all their support.
Well, I'm not ready.
So they pulled out all their support, and so each one of them has basically right now, for them to survive through this next year, they're looking for a $10,000 contribution by each agency, and I could only anticipate that it will get worse, because if the forfeiture fund has $70,000 in it to carry over to the next year, $50,000 is going to basically bring the forfeiture fund up to $120,000. As that forfeiture fund runs out, then those contributions will increase in order to keep Metro moving. It seems easy to say, well, we're going to pull out of it. I talked with Steve Lowe this morning. The prosecuting attorney's office receives $50,500 a year for prosecuting the drug cases, where if the county pulls out of it, you're going to lose the $50,000. So in a sense, you would lose $40,000, but he still has to prosecute the cases. So you're kind of stuck here as to what you're going to do.
Right now, with this drug situation the way it is, and this meth thing the way it is, I think we need to look real carefully before we pull out of that thing.
My personal feeling on is an expense that I think it will come back and haunt you if you pull out, because you know there's so many, you know, I mean, if it becomes a free for all for drug dealers here in the Tri-City area,
that's right,
or Franklin County. Franklin County has, I think Steve said, out of 83 cases right now, they're prosecuting 51 cases. And my numbers could be up, but he's pretty busy prosecuting the drug cases. He has a full-time attorney that's basically, I'm telling you what he told me. I'm not in their office, I don't know.
Well,
but I do know that it's kind of a catch-22, you know.
No, I don't think we should. And Benton County, now Larry Taylor has a grant and 2 full-time men working on meth, strictly on meth. He's doing it on grant money.
Well, I talked with the sheriff about it this morning too, just to find out what their feelings were.
But they're looking at for $10,000.
Yes, they want a commitment to put $10,000 in for next year. Now that is only if, and you know they're going to need it, but it's not automatically plug $10,000 from each agency into their budget so they can spend it however they want. Is that if they run into a case where they absolutely have to have it, then they come back to the individual agencies and ask for maybe a $5,000 contribution or a $1,000 contribution,
well,
but not to exceed.
It seems to me that there should be an equity formula. I can't imagine.
We did that, and the equity formula would give Franklin County $10,000, the cities $5,000. Because they're contributing 2 people where we're contributing 1. Both Benton and Franklin County are contributing 1 person. The city of Richland is contributing 1 person. The city of Pasco and the city of Kennewick are contributing 2 people. So,
but now, the sheriff's office doesn't have a metro person.
1 person, yes.
And we've got a prosecutor.
Yes.
That's 2 people.
Well, the prosecutor is receiving $50,500.
But that doesn't pay his salary and benefits.
It doesn't, but...
so I think we're contributing a heck of a lot more than $10,000.
The argument would be, though, they're going to have to prosecute him anyway.
Oh.
You still do.
Regardless, on this drug thing, we're going to get them. And if we can do anything...
I'm talking about population.
Well,
or cases.
It's not...
I'd like to see the cases.
They're sending those over. But it's a regional thing. It's not an isolated area thing. And they're not focusing on any one area. They will chase a drug dealer all the way from Pasco or Richland or Kennewick, even the West Richland, into the different agencies, areas. They have no boundaries. So they're not dealing with boundaries. They're dealing with the...
On drug they can't. And But again, I come back to meth, and meth is the worst drug we've got in the area, without question. And I don't know where we would stand on grants on that, but we should be able to get some grants just to help us in addition to Metro.
Benton County receives them.
Larry Taylor has got a grant with $2 million on it.
I'm just bringing you the news. We talked about what you're talking about last night, and it was just kind of a consensus. Look, let's not turn this into a big issue. Every agency is going to basically put in $10,000, and if they need it, they need it, because it is an area.
They're not. What you're saying is commit to 10,000.
Is commit to 10,000, up to 10,000.
I don't think we can afford not to.
Taking it in mind, though, 10,000 is next year.
That's correct.
It's just going to go up.
Yeah, it will go
Well,
up.
And in our existing police should be going after these drug people anyway.
Well, the difference between Metro and what Metro's responsibility is through the federal government, I understand is where they get these grant monies, is they're looking for the kingpins that are bringing in the big loads. They're not looking for they don't mess with the street people. They're looking for the high manufacturers, the big deals that are coming through the area.
Didn't your son used to be in Metro?
Mm-hmm. It was a joke.
He thought it was a joke.
Everybody that's been involved in Metro thinks it's a joke.
On my own defense, I was put on that board. I'm just bringing you the news.
No, I don't know.
And he was there for extra long, longer than he was supposed to be, because the guy that was we put it in the budget. I don't know if it's going to stay there.
Well, if you commit to it, then it would have to.
We'd have to keep it there. From my own standpoint.
What are we going to cut out?
But you're giving him permission to do it, and then you can discuss it again when the time comes.
Well, if I go back to the next meeting and say, yes, Franklin County has agreed to put $10,000 in the budget, it's a commitment that you really need to make and be serious with the commitment. Or if you're not, then don't put it in, and we just tell them no.
From one standpoint, I personally will support it. Now, David's got his own thing, but I'll personally support it.
We would lose, if you look at the numbers only, we would lose $40,000 a year by not putting in 10. Because the grant gives the PAs off $50,000. So you save the 10, we lose the other 40, and he still has to prosecute. Because he still has to prosecute regardless if you're in it or not.
We can't turn him loose.
We'll discuss it Monday.
Okay.
Because neither you can still next year review it again after you can still commit to the 10. Look at it next year if it doesn't go well.
BIPAN and Metro have been two thorns in my side ever since I've been a commissioner.
Well, I have another
You
thorn.
want to go meet with
I have another thorn.
We got 6 minutes.
Okay, I want
I gotta
30
go
seconds. I just want 30 seconds. What's going on with the phone book thing? Do we
I
know?
I think Pat
I
sent
gotta
out an
go
email
see
that
that
they're
man.
asked the
So we
phone
are,
company to make an addendum to
adjourned
that because it was their mess.
11 o'clock.
Well, Fred wants to have an executive session, David.
Oh, no, already. I can talk to you about it later.
Okay.
You know what I'm thinking about doing? What I'm gonna do is
We adjourned till how long?
I'm gonna do it.
Recess.
I'm gonna do it. I have Libby print them up so that I
Too
can.
many things going in too many areas
All
at one
right.
time.